Okay guys, hi, this is Sophia. I am going to edit this one picture of Anaya. So a lot of guys always ask me, what's my editing process? How do I edit my pictures? What's my topaz settings? How do I get my pictures so smooth? So I'm going to show you that today. Hopefully you can bear with me. I have ADD, so if I forget something, I'm sorry. But so the first thing I'm going to do is go to image size, and then I'm going to I changed the size of the pictures twice. Like I resized twice. So this is the first time. Just make sure this is the only one that's checked, resample image. And then I'm going to resize it by 1,000. And yeah, that just looks better to me because the game likes to stretch pixels, like your screenshots, if you ever noticed. If you don't do this, like your pictures are pretty stretched. So whatever your screen size is, just use your best judgment. But with mine, I like to just stick with 1,000. So I resized it like that. And then the second thing I do is, I really don't have a certain list like a order of how I do things, but for the sake of this video, I'll go ahead and use the brush tool right here. This is just how I was shown to do it, and I noticed that this is like the best way of editing for me. I don't know what you guys use, but this is just how I'm showing you how I do me. So I'm gonna use the brush tool, then I'm gonna click for the mode. It's gonna be multiply. Now the opacity normally for me stays on 24%, the flow 66%. The brush is, make sure your brush is, the hardness is on 0, because if the hardness is not on 0, you're gonna get something like this. You're gonna get these like blotches where it's really harsh, and you really don't want that at all. So make sure your brush size, the hardness is on 0. The size, use your use your best judgment. Whatever you're focusing on. If you're focusing on a smaller scale, use a smaller brush size, obviously. I'm working on the entire picture, so I'm going to use 888 pixels. Sorry, my voice is a little hoarse, but I don't know why. But anyway, so I'll go ahead and start shading this in. Like I'm just shading around her face. Yeah, I like darker pictures, so that's what and I normally always come around this side, and I kind of make my way over here like that. And yeah, after that I'll probably just go ahead, and after that I'll go to color dot. Like I used to go to overlay a lot. Like overlay used to be my backup, but lately I've been finding myself, see, I don't really like this. Lately I've been finding myself using the color dodge rather than overlay. For some reason, color dodge for me is just a little bit better. So yeah, that looks better to me. Then I'll probably go back in and use multiply again, just so it's like a little even. Like you have an even coverage overall. Yeah, so that's like a nice base to start out with. Then after that, I'll go ahead. Now, if your picture has like pointy edges or whatever, like your Sims, like their elbows or whatever, what have you, will be pointy, you can use the liquify tool. But for this picture, I don't need it. I don't even need to go here. But normally, you can make everything smoother, like even out the pointy edges of their like skin or whatever. You can do that, but I'm not going to do it because I don't need to. So after that, I'm going to go ahead and hit the selective color option right here in adjustments. I don't know where your adjustments are, but you can always go to like window adjustments and it'll pop up right here. Then hit selective color. Now I have a bunch of presets that I like to use that I've just used over time. I like to save ones that I know I really like. So they're named really weird because I never know what I'm doing in Photoshop. So one is called like what the fuck, like because I have no idea like what this was doing. Like I have no idea what was going on here, and I kind of liked it, so I saved it, but I never used it. I normally stick with the first one. It's called A Little Dark. And you see how I just made it look really pretty? Like I love this preset so much. That's like my default. And then if not, I'll like kind of just go down the list and see what I like. They're really weird as far as color and palettes. This one is pretty too, but it makes her hair look blue. I mean, I can easily change it, like, because her hair is purple. I can easily change it, but I don't know, for some reason I'm not going to go with that one. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with A Little Dark. I like that one. Then I'm going to change the opacity so it's not ridiculous looking. I'm going to change it like around 27% is like a good range for me. I'm going to head and flatten this. Now normally if you always want to go back, you can just save your layers, but I mean with me, I'm kind of just like, I like it, whatever. It's like that is just what it is, so I'll flatten it. Then after that, I really like gradients. Like that's another thing that I'll do with selective color. I'll use the gradient option. So just because, I don't know, it just adds like a nice pop of contrast to your pictures. So if you don't want to like do everything from scratch, you can just use gradients, and that's what I use, and it works for me. Now what I did was I went to soft light. As far as, you know, the type, I went to soft light. Then you go down here in properties, hit gradient map, and it has like a bunch of presets that are awesome. Like they look nice to me. And I kind of just shuffle between these and see what I like. I don't like, sometimes I make new gradient presets, but for the most part I keep them as Photoshop already has it. Because I mean, just why change it if it works? That's pretty, but her hair is so blue. I mean, I can change it, but I'm gonna take this one. I mean, I just really like dark pictures. So again, I'm gonna change the opacity down about there. That looks nice. And then after that, this is where I would resize. Like I got my colors the way I want them. Everything looks nice to me. What I'd probably go ahead and do a little bit is kind of come back with the color dodge tool and just brighten up a little bit around her face. And then yeah, then I'll resize it a second time. So this is going to be 800 pixels. Now, I mean, I feel like a good size for Tumblr is like 800. Like sometimes I do 900 but for the most part it's like 800 for the width. So it's resized, and then this is where, now when you resize a picture, it sharpens it for you. So you see how sharp it looks. I'm not a fan of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to oil paint. Actually, let me make this is where I would make a layer, because I'm going to change the opacity. So make your background copy, go to oil paint, and these are my presets as far as like bristle detail 7, scale 0.1, cleanliness 0, stylization 2.92. Everything else is 0. I keep it like that. It works for me. Then that looks ridiculous, so I'm going to change the opacity to 50. I always just go with 50. Yeah. So then you can, like, now with me, I'm going to go ahead and just flatten that because I don't need to go back to like see anything. I like how it looks. Then I'm going to go to topaz. See, I do both. I do oil paint and topaz just because it gives me a smooth effect overall. Like, it gives me an even amount of, you know, softness, the soft detail. So I made a few presets, but I always kind of stick with the last one right here. It's called Clean. Very obnoxious the way I renamed it. But these are my settings. So For clean, strength is 0, threshold 0.19, radius 4. For edges, 2, radius 3.54, sharpness 0, texture 0, boost 1.50, size 2.16. So you went ahead and saved that. Click OK. Then I'm going to go ahead and go to opacity again and hit 50. Probably less than that. It really doesn't make a difference as long as it's not like ridiculous. Even that looks okay, but I hate when my like pictures are like overly like blurry or like soft. It's like calm down. But okay, so 38 is nice for me. So after that, I'll probably go ahead and brighten it a little bit. Yeah. And then what I'll further do is go to the smudge tool and blur, well not blur, but like smudge out like her skin so it looks a little bit smoother. I'm like very finicky with things like this, like I will spend 10 minutes blurring out or smoothing out someone's skin. It's that serious to me. I just hate like pixelated skin. Like I love when sim skins look flawless. So I will spend a quite amount of time doing this. Like for the most part, my editing will be finished. It's just like random shit like this that I'm doing just to smooth it out. And sometimes, like, be careful with smudge because sometimes that shit will distort your picture. For me, I really don't care most of the time, but yeah. And then now I have a few ways that I blur. Like with this picture, I'll probably blur, like, okay, see, now let me go ahead and smudge the background because this is something else that I do. I like to smudge so it just looks softer. Normally you can just blur the background, but I like to smudge it sometimes. It looks okay. Yeah. So then after that, what you can do is use the quick wand tool, quick selection tool actually, and you can select everything outside of what you want to focus on and blur it that way, which I do quite a lot. This is like one of my favorite ways to blur. I do this a lot, especially when I'm doing like scenes for my story, when I want you to pay attention to what's going on in my like with my sims. I'll blur everything else in the background and it looks really nice and it just gives an extra smoothness to everything. You see how much time I'm wasting doing this? Like, it's ridiculous. But if you want your picture to look nice, I guess. Yeah, so okay, that's good enough. So then you go to blur. After you selected everything, you go to blur, then go to field blur, and it kind of just blurs everything for you. But I like to hit the blur at like maybe 5%, like, well, 5 pixels, and then hit OK. Now you can do that, and I mean, to me, I didn't really see a difference in this. That option most likely works with if you're doing like, if there's a lot of shit in the background, because other than that you can just blur and call it a day, which I'm about to do because I want to blur everything else except for like her face. So, and that just looks better to me. But that was the way, that's like another way that I blur, and I use that option quite a lot, but not lately. Only when I'm doing scenes. So I like this picture, but it's missing something. So what I'll go ahead and do after that is I'll go to variations and I will hit shadows, and I'll hit it like one, like depending on the picture, how dark the picture is, I'm gonna hit it once and that should darken things out for me, and then that just looks like a better picture to me. Like, I don't know, I like dark pictures, so that looks way better than that did. It just adds like a little bit more flair or whatever. Now her hair is blue, and her hair shouldn't be blue because she is not Phoenix. So I'm going to go to selective color tool, go to colors, hit blue. This is just what I'm doing. And then I'm going to go to cyan and then make it purple. There we go. There she is. Like, she looks way better there. Because, like, the blue is just throwing me off. I'm like, why don't I like this picture? It's because her hair is blue. So purple looks nice. Okay, so then after that, this picture is pretty much done to me, in my opinion. But I'll probably still be working on it, like, as I'm, like, recording still. And you'll probably notice me, like, rambling. But, I'm going to go back to multiply. Well, actually, no, I'm going to go back to color dodge. And this is where you would resize, like, you know, I'm working on a smaller scale right now. So I'm going to brighten her face a little bit. Her arms. Well, not really, because I still like the darkness there. But, yeah, then I'll probably go back to multiply. And then, like, darken her face there. And then with her eyes are not really standing out to me. So this is where this is how I found out about color dodge tool. Because I used to do this to the eyes. But now I just do it to everything. Like, I just really love the color dodge tool. So I like to keep it at white. Depending on what the color of your eyes are. Well, the Sim's eyes are. You can, like, do the eye drop tool. Where is it? Right here. Like, you can mask it and then go back to color dodge and then just highlight their eye. But for me, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to keep it at white and just make her eyes brighter a little bit so you can see them. This is what I do mostly with a lot of, like a sim like Phoenix. I'm going to do that for her eyes, just so her eyes stand out. And I'm going to do that for, like, someone like Matthias or, like, Dupree, because they're, like, supernatural sims. So they all have, like, glowy eyes, and, like, Josie taught me that, and I love her for it, because it just makes everything look cooler. But, yeah, this picture is done. So then what I would do is, I'm going to show you how to do the black bars. So you go to canvas size. Everyone has their own way of doing black bars, but for me, I actually already have it, like, as an action. Black bars right there, canvas size. But I'm going to show you how I did it. So this is image size. Go to canvas size, then go to height, because you're only changing the height, obviously. If you wanted to do a border, you would mess around with the width and height, but for now, I'm just going to do the height. And I'm going to go to, I would say 6.5. And I think that's the preset that I have. Well, 6.4. But 6.5 is nice. And it gives you a border. And that's pretty much it. Then, I'm lying. After that, I would go ahead and reduce the noise. When you reduce the noise, it sucks everything in. It makes everything so much more sharp. And the fact that you already used topaz, it just kind of evens out for some reason. Like, it has, like, a nice Christmas. It has, like, a nice Christmas. It has a crispness to it that also topaz will give you smooth. So it's like a nice balance between both. So I like to do that sometimes. I also make sure that's a layer, because then I'm going to drop the opacity down to, like, 39 or, like, 35 or something. Like, I don't want the opacity to 100%. That just looks way too sharp for me. I don't really, like, I kind of don't even want to do, actually I'm not going to do that, because I don't want the whole entire picture sharpened. I'm just going to really sharpen her eyes. I don't know why I did that, but I'm going to just sharpen her eyes for the moment, because that's all I really want that's sharpened. It's her eyes, maybe her lips, oh yeah, and her eyebrows. And that's about it. Even that looks a little sharp for me. But whatever. I'm not about to be on here for like 20 minutes. It's probably already been 20 minutes. Then after that, I'm going to duplicate it. And then sometimes, like I think MJ was asking me how I did this. So I'll go to noise. And like you seen how I went to reduce noise. Now we're going to go to add noise. And it gives you like a really pretty film texture. Like if you ever used a film camera, like which I have here. I have at home. I have a film camera. And when you have them developed, they have like this nice film grain to it, and it just makes like your pictures look far more realistic than if you didn't have it. It just looks like a real life photo to me when you add the grainness to it. And then also, like, say if your picture's like really blurry and like you kind of overdid it with Topaz, you can use film grain to balance it out and it won't look as harsh. That's just like a little trick that I figured out on my own. So yeah, I like it at 27. Like, it doesn't have to be like all the way up there, just to where you notice it a little bit. But I like it smooth too. Like, I like how it looks right now. See, this is where I'm so indecisive. Like, I will never know what looks best to me. Like, I like it just smooth, but then I also like the film grain. But I'm going to, for the sake of this picture, I'm going to not use film grain. So yeah, this picture is pretty much done. Like, at this point I'm just like reaching. It's not even that serious. Like, I can brighten it a little bit and change the opacity. Oh, I also like to do this because I notice at the end that my pictures they'll have like this warm feel to it, and I don't like that. So I go to color balance and I go to blue on midtones, and I make it a little bit bluer. That just looks better to me rather than having it really warm. I just like cold, dark pictures. So yeah, this picture is, well, it's pretty much edited. It's done. So now what I was going to say is you save it as web. Don't you fucking ever save as, okay? That will fuck up your picture. So that will mess up the quality of your picture, like, for real. Go to save for web, because you're going to upload it to Tumblr anyway, obviously. Or just whatever you're saving to like upload. Just save it as web always. It just preserves the quality of your picture. I save things to my desktop just because easy access. I'm really sloppy like that. Like, I had to clean up my desktop for the sake of this picture because I didn't, well, for this tutorial, because I didn't know. You would have looked at me crazy with all like the folders I had going on. I was gonna edit this one too. I might still. I just don't know what I'm doing anymore as far as in game.